Hello again, and welcome to Shostak Vocabulary Level E Unit 8. So by now you should have done Units 1 through 7, so you know the drill. I'm going to tell you what the words mean, and while we go through the slide, and you're going to get that information so you can use it on your assignments and your quiz, etc. Right, the first word we have is animosity, and so we can see here that there is a very angry looking person. Her face is red, her turtleneck is ugly, and she's got what looks like the parts of a computer that she's ripped apart. So she is feeling animosity. She is feeling strong dislike or bitter hostility. That means she's feeling hostile, aggressive. In this case, I would imagine her animosity is directed towards a computer. So, for example, Platt and Maloney, many of the students in Platt and Maloney feel animosity towards each other, particularly when it comes time for that homecoming football game, the Stoddard Bowl. The Capulets and the Montagues in Romeo and Juliet feel animosity towards each other until, of course, Romeo and Juliet fell in love and feel no animosity towards each other, just affection. But, Tybalt still feels all that animosity. Rivals of any kind, really, the Yankees and the Red Sox, what they have between each other is a strong dislike, bitter hostility, animosity. Our next word is apprehensive. So you see this guy about to jump out of a plane, which might seem very brave, but then we look at his face, and he looks very scared, and he seems to be clinging very hard onto that door to not jump because he's feeling apprehensive. He's feeling fearful or anxious, especially about the future. So you might feel apprehensive right before you take a big exam, or you might feel apprehensive right before you ask somebody out on a date because you're worried that that person might say no. So worried, but confident would be the opposite of apprehensive. So again, you could feel apprehensive about your future. You guys probably don't remember this, but a few years ago, everyone was like, "Oh my God, 2012, the world's going to end." These people were very, very silly, but they were feeling apprehensive about the future. You could feel apprehensive about death. Hamlet says, this, but fear of death, that's what keeps him from killing himself because he's apprehensive about what might happen. Commend, all right, so that's not command, that's commend. You can see these kids here have like awards. They have been commended, so to praise, to express approval. So if you do really well on a test, I or your teacher might commend you for that, might say, "Good job, I'm very proud of you." If you study really hard and you do really well, then we commend your hard work. All right, so we give an award, applause, we say good job. All of this is commendation. All of this is us commending you. Compatible. So compatible means you get along with, able to get along or work well together. So if you're going to marry someone, it's important that the two of you are compatible, that the two of you get along together. So you're probably compatible with your friend, with your friends. You should be compatible with a person that you date. We also can talk about whether or not software is compatible with something, whether or not one type of software can work with a type of computer would be that they are compatible. So for example, the games for my PS4 are not compatible with my PS3. My PS3 doesn't work with my PS4 games. They are not compatible. Condolence. So you can see this woman is very sad and this doctor is comforting her, although he's got a weird look on his face. He is expressing his condolences. He is giving her an expression of sympathy. So if you give someone a sympathy card saying, "I hope you feel better, I'm so sorry for what you're going through," what you're showing them is your condolences. So after someone dies, you could give the surviving person your condolence. After someone gets dumped, you might want to express your condolences to the person who got dumped. Consecrate. All right, so consecrate, you can see here that we're at a funeral, that people have died, but that now they're having flowers placed there. Consecrate means to make sacred, hallow. Sacred means sort of holy. So we dedicate something. So for example, if you think of a war monument, we might consecrate that monument in memory of the people who died in the war. Or when you start a new church, you could consecrate the church. You make the church, hallow and sacred. Obsolete, okay? Nowadays it seems like things become obsolete very, very quickly. Obsolete means out of date, no longer in use. So for example, Smartphones have made Mr. Warner's flip phone entirely obsolete. Typewriters are obsolete because now we have laptops. Payphones have become mostly obsolete. That's why you don't see payphones around very much anymore, because everyone's got a cell phone. Beepers are obsolete, I guess, unless you're a drug dealer, but for the most part, beepers obsolete. Quandary. All right, so we see this person who's got a big question mark over his head, and we also see this sign here that says entrance only, do not enter. Well, if it's an entrance, why can't I enter? That's giving me a question. It's giving me a quandary. Quandary is a state of confusion or doubt. It's when I don't really know what's going on. I'm in a quandary. Predicament is another word for that. So some of you might feel quandary about what to do after you graduate. You graduate high school and then you stare at the future and you have no idea what you should do. You found yourself in a state of confusion or doubt. You found yourself in a quandary. Reprisal. Okay, so reprisal means an injury done in return for an injury. So it's reprisal is revenge, sort of. So you hurt me, I hurt you, as a form of reprisal. If we think about, Romeo kills Tybalt because Tybalt kills Mercutio. So Tybalt kills Mercutio, Romeo as a reprisal kills Tybalt. He's trying to get back at him. The Boston Tea Party was a reprisal when the British raised the tax on tea. As a reprisal, some of the revolutionaries dumped tea into the harbor as a way of getting back at them. Suave, all right, we see here two different James Bonds, Daniel Craig and my favorite, Sean Connery. All right, and any James Bond is going to have to be suave, smoothly agreeable or polite, pleasing. They're going to have to be very charming. They're going to have to get people to like them very easily. So you think about the way James Bond has with the ladies. That's because he's very suave. All right, so actors tend to be suave. When you get dressed up and you put on a suit, you might feel suave. James Bond, like we said, the ladies' man is very suave. And that's it. Thank you very much, and I hope you study for